I'm Jason Klom, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. The year is 1960. The album An Evening with Mike Nichols and Elaine May. The artist, you guessed it, Mike Nichols and Elaine May. My guest, Kristian Bruun. Thank you for returning.
Hi, how you doing? Glad to be back.
I'm good. Let's front load the promo and then do it at the end too.
All right.
Just because it's going to come out soon. I want
Sure.
to make sure people know to watch you and the nicest man in show business besides yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry O'Connell.
Oh, my God. So nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's hilarious and kind and gentle and a hell of a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. The show is called Carter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And where do we find it?
It's on WGN America. It's currently airing Tuesdays at 10 p.m., that magical time slot that everybody just craves for. But despite all that, we actually have incredible numbers on the network, which is great.
That's
and people
awesome.
are really enjoying it. We're getting great feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been going really well.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
You're always nervous when it's a brand new show. It's a new detective procedural,
Right.
with a lot of comedy involved, a lot of murders. A small town with way too many murders going
Sure,
on.
of course.
And you never know how people are going to take it. And, a procedural is a beast unto itself. A detective procedural, it's been done to death, and you're always looking for your take or how you can make yours a little bit different or more entertaining. And for us, we kind of ramped up the comedy a little bit while still keeping it in sort of the real area. Like it feels like a light comedy, but fit into the structure of a 1 hour detective procedural.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's so good. I feel like an ass because I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I don't have
dare
TV.
you.
I don't have. That's
Yeah,
I'm that
I
dick.
see
I have
one
a
right
TV.
here.
I have a TV. That is true. I do have a single TV. I will watch it. I mean, I want to. You understand? I want to watch it.
I understand.
You understand.
I understand.
You get it.
Yeah.
My best friend Jerry O'Connell's on it.
Exactly.
I say my
Has he
best
been
friend.
on the show?
Oh God, are you kidding? No. That'd be amazing. I will tell you, he's one of the few people on Twitter to actually interact with you. To be fair, I did call him like the nicest man in TV because like when I was an extra, he was so fucking sweet, and everybody's stories about him were like legend. It's one of those. It's weird. You don't get those. Usually, it's like, oh, he just keeps to himself, or just him, and who was the other one? It was him either way. Got very good stories to the point where like everybody was hanging out and talking with him, and I like an ass encroached between these two extras and put my hand out because I wanted a handshake too, and he obliged like the nicest man.
He does that with everybody, and he treats everybody with love and respect, and is interested in strangers that he meets. And we shot the show in North Bay, Ontario, which is like 4 hours drive north of Toronto. It's a very small city in the middle of beautiful lakes and trees, and that's about it. And this town just went nuts for Jerry because he became like this North Bay ambassador for 3 months while we were working there. They gave him the key to the city.
Oh my God.
He would tweet about businesses. This is what I love. If you want some good reading, go on Yelp and look up North Bay, Ontario, and then look up some of the businesses there. He's left reviews on so many businesses in North Bay. It's hilarious, like the Good Life Fitness and the Crown and Beaver Pub, and like so many different pubs and restaurants that he ate at. He's left these hilarious Yelp reviews on them. They're like little Easter eggs for you to find in North Bay, Ontario's Yelp section. He's great. He's just such a fun guy to work with. I can't say enough good stuff about him because I mean I've been very lucky. I was thinking. I remember going to the first read through of Carter. This is totally off topic, but thinking like in the back of my head, just rolling my eyes, going, "Oh boy, it's Jerry O'Connell. I'm sure he's gonna be a real handful." I've had a good run. I've worked with some great people. It's all over. This is gonna be a long summer, and like from the get go, he's just a total joy, and he's hilarious and. So funny and inappropriate and all the things I love in someone to work with and a buddy. And, he's become a buddy of mine now. And, he's an icon. The man never stops working.
Right.
And there's a reason. He really knows how the camera works. He knows what he's doing. He's got a ton of experience, but he's also just so much fun to work with, and that comes across on screen, I think, and he's really good at building a rapport with other actors and chemistry, and he was a real leader on set. Like, he really welcomed every single guest star, would go out for dinner with them and, make them feel part of the gang. And
pretty nice.
It was pretty awesome.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell my story later about him because it's not my story to tell. It's another extra story. Okay. But I don't know that extra's name. I'll tell it later.
All right.
And we should probably start talking about the album.
Yes, we should talk about the album.
Until he releases his own Here we go, Carl's comedy
Yeah.
album. Okay, so we were talking on the way up here. This is one that's always on a list of like greatest comedy albums.
Yep.
But you had not had the opportunity to hear it.
Nope. It's 1960. It's a classic duo that it was actually an acting teacher that got me onto them because I told you they came up in conversation because I was researching the time period. Mm-hmm. I was doing something for acting class earlier in the year because I still like to study. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of going into the backstory of a character that I was playing for a number of weeks that I was studying, and I was studying 1960, trying to like get as much material on that time period because I'm not very familiar with it.
Sure.
This is 20 years before I was born, 19 years. And this came up. Mike Nichols and Elaine May, and my teacher said, go YouTube some stuff, listen to, Nichols and May, and you'll get a real sense of comedy timing from this period.
Yeah.
And I had seen maybe just a couple quick clips on YouTube and was just blown away immediately and kind of notched in the back of my mind, like, okay, make sure you listen to some stuff. And then just never got around to it. Yeah. So when you asked me to come back on the podcast and pick something, I was reading one of those lists of, greatest comedy albums of all time. And that was right there. And immediately I knew, okay, this is the one I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I've been meaning to do that. And I'm not disappointed. I'm someone who loves all types of comedy. I generally think comedy doesn't age well.
Yeah.
And we even talked about that last time with Patton Oswalt, who is like one of my favorites of all time.
Of course.
But there was parts of the album that we were talking about that didn't quite stand the test of time. And Patton would be the first person to acknowledge that and move on for that. And I think any good comedian does. But this holds up. Like, it's really fucking good.
I know.
And it doesn't swear like I just did. It doesn't resort to vulgarities. It's just like, because you wouldn't swear like that back then in live theater. This was a Broadway show that they did, and I think this is just it's highlights from the Broadway production. So it's only 4 sketches of theirs, and I'm sure there's more that they did, and it just kind of blows me away. Like that, especially that first track, the operator one, the telephone one, which I went for a walk and listened to the whole thing, and I was smiling the whole walk and laughing out loud, which I don't like to do in public because people think I'm crazy, but which I am, but I don't want people to know. And I couldn't help but laugh. Like, it sounds so obviously it's of a time because Nichols is calling into the operator talking about like, oh, I don't want to lose my dime. And I can't even remember a time when a phone call cost a dime. I do remember using payphones and it costing $0.25.
Sure.
But I don't remember having to call up an operator unless I was making a collect call. They just connect you. Here, it's of a time, but their voices, the clarity of their voices, the accent coming out of New York, it's not too thick, but it's there. The timing, the pace, the banter is modern. Like it feels like you could be. It feels like 2 modern comedians doing a period piece almost.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It makes me think, and maybe it's because you're in the room and I associate you with comedy Bang Bang, but it does make me think. Because this stuff is, from what I understand, developed obviously from improv and therefore turned into like let's just hone this and hone this and hone this. That's one thing you don't see with some of the great improv podcasts. They just do their thing and they fucking let it go. I would love to know. I would like to see one of those shows and see if they could just fucking hone it and see what kind of shit they would get.
That
if they
would be
to.
amazing. Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's certainly like places like Second City coming out of Chicago and Toronto. I know they write a lot of their shows out of improv, so they'll just do like an improv writing session and come up with stuff and develop it from there. And I think it's such an interesting way of working. And I even find when I'm writing, if I'm working on a script, I'll try and like improv banter back and forth in my head and see what works.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of writers do that, but here, like, you can also hear them fucking with each other and like trying to like they're just peppering things in, and they just go with each other's flow so perfectly.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like he has all these fillers in the like conversations that their two characters are having that are just hilarious. I think it was in the disc jockey track where like, you know, she's talking about these name dropping, these people he keeps name dropping, and he's got all these like, yeah, sure, oh yeah, sure, but like every once in a while he'll just ping her with one that will be so hilarious and kind of out of left field, but also so perfect, and you'll hear the audience just bubble up at it for 1 second, and it's just genius, and it never throws her for a loop, and she just keeps going, and I feel like he does a great job of like being a straight man to her sometimes. Yeah. She gets to play these wild characters, and he's more reserved sometimes.
She's also doing a thing in that sketch that has always blown my mind, because I've listened to this album this is one of the few that like I inherited from my grandmother. Maybe not this copy itself, but like I inherited a few from my grandmother, like through my mother, that got me started doing this whole thing.
Cool.
And so I've been listening to it for a long time. A, it never gets old, but B, there's in that sketch, she's giggling in character.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
No.
It sounds simple, but she's giggling the whole fucking time like an idiot.
Yeah.
But that's in character. And that's, I don't know, I feel like that's hard to do because you're like, oh God, you get more self-conscious, I think.
Yeah.
I would, maybe.
I wonder if they ever did a filmed version of this.
That's what I was wondering too.
Because you can hear how much fun they're having with each other and with the audience, and how much fun the audience is having with them through the recording. And I bet it's even more obvious when you see it in person, certainly through a screen, but then in person, it just must be that much wilder because it's infectious. Like, you can really sense how much fun they're having. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You don't get that all the time with sketch comedy. Usually someone's bitter at someone somewhere. Like, there's always a weird vibe going on. Like, if you go and see live sketch comedy.
Yeah.
And you just don't get a sense of that. This is them in their prime.
There's this weird warmth to it that I can't quite define.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I've always, you always heard rumors of, you know, where the romance might have been or whatever. But clearly there's love there. Like the kind you only find with another actor, at least. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we fucking click.
Yeah.
We're going to keep, I mean, they did at least 3 albums together.
Yes. I think
so just like to keep doing, which means probably multiple Broadway shows or stage shows, I would imagine.
They pretty much, I think, stopped performing because they just both individually got so busy with their careers, in a sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mike Nichols went on to become an incredible Academy Award-winning director. And they would come back together as well. I did very cursory reading on this, but Elaine wrote The Birdcage, which Mike directed, you know, in the 90s. So they would find these ways to get back together and work together again. And I remember loving that film when it came out. And of course, The Graduate. And I saw just recently Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which is a mad, relentless beast of a film, of a play as well. I mean, it's not an easy play, and that film is not an easy watch either. I mean, it's just, it's madness. It's drunken madness for, you know, almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
And brilliantly performed as well. And I forgot that Mike Nichols had directed that, and I saw it again years later for a couple weeks ago. But
just to and you know, I'm sure there are people who've done much more scholarly work on this, but if you just think of Virginia Woolf and then think of the two of them playing those main,
which
like,
they did in 1980. They went on to play them in a revival in, I think, Connecticut or something.
Damn it,
like that.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. Seriously, and that's them, aged up. I'm guessing playing the two main characters, not the other couple drinking with them. That must have been, absolutely wild, and probably wickedly funny, because I don't think Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, thank you. What you were tuning in to watch with them was their history.
Yes,
and their on again, off again, but never gone love for each other. And just, God, that's a whole other element that I think makes that film pop.
Yeah.
I bet the stage version with May and Nichols would have been just way funnier. And yet, here's a couple that have so much history over 30 years prior.
Yeah.
That's got to be a loaded performance as well.
For sure. God, that's amazing. I would have loved to have seen that.
I wonder if they ever filmed that as well.
I know.
Here's the thing. A lot of great productions get filmed in some way, and it's not usually it's never the same.
Right.
Like watching live theater and watching theater that's been taped in some way, it just doesn't work. But man, I would love to see. I'm gonna like do a little scrounging to see if there's some sort of archival something out there.
I know. It's just I wonder too, like how much he learned, how much they both learned back and forth doing that kind of work together. Like how much she might have learned as a writer, how much he learned as a director. Because I'm trying to remember, after having watched, it's been a while since I've seen Virginia Woolf. Is it just the action that's frenetic, or is it a lot of single shots? Like it's been a while since I've seen it. Like
it's very stagey in the sense that you'll have very long shots. If I remember correctly, you'll have very. I was drinking wine, of course, as one does when they're drinking. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? You just start tucking into stuff with a group of friends, and I remember. It's very theatrical in the sense that you have a set, and while it's a little bit easier, I think, in the film to drift from locations in the house, like they use the kitchen, they use the living room, they use the bedroom, they use the outdoor space a little bit. And then at one point they go to a bar and get even more soused, and then they're in the car driving soused, and then they get back into the house and really get into it. And it's been so long since I've read the play, and I don't remember the bar. I don't know if that was added for the film just to change up the locations a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to maintain one location in a play, but and I don't think I've ever seen a live version of it before. I've only read the play and seen the film a couple times. Great play if you haven't read it, by Edward Albee, who, side note, was kicked out of the military school I went to for high school.
Really?
Yeah, Edward Albee was kicked out of Valley Forge Military Academy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I love that.
That's amazing.
Also the school that J.D. Salinger went to and graduated from.
Wow.
He did not get kicked out.
Okay.
Two, pretty big literary icons. One that did not make it through and one that did, oddly enough. So I remember the film really leaning on the acting chops of everybody involved.
That's what I figured, yeah.
Yeah, and Nichols not trying to be too clever with things. Just letting these two juggernauts go at each other.
Yeah.
And it is so vicious. It's hilarious and jaw-dropping, and you're just like gobsmacked half the time, but also just so delicious to sort of be a fly on the wall and watch this couple eviscerate each other.
Yeah.
And yet love it so much.
Right.
At the same time.
It's such a polar opposite, because anytime there's an argument or anything again, like, I think that's the difference, is there's these two cold assholes in this play.
Yeah.
Love is at the very least going, if not entirely gone, where again, anything in here, and again, it could just be their relationship as actors, but it's just so sweet and loving. And I don't know which one I love the most. The mother one is the most like, it's the strangest one of them all.
I love how it just starts devolving. Like at the end, it devolves into like a goo goo gaga mother and son
so
conversation, and it's it goes to an absurd place that I don't think comedy went to back then. Like the only absurd comedian that I can think of at this time who was famous for being weird and wacky and out there was Jonathan Winters.
Sure.
You know, he was really out there and just kind of larger than life. But he would come on to shows like, I think some of the evening shows.
Yeah.
Or like, I think maybe he was on Hee Haw sometimes or something like that.
He could have been.
Some of those programs where he would just come on and just do stuff out of left field that people would be like, crazy, wacky Jonathan Winters being a real loose cannon.
The bit that I've always been told to look up and remind people to look up is just look him up. I think it's on Steve Allen, where Steve Allen hands him a twig, says, "What can you do with this?" And he goes on a rant for 5 fucking minutes. He does a bit about a twig. Yeah, it's genius. But yeah, you're right. I guess it's not he's out of left field in a totally different way too. But this is so.
But this like turns into that, and you're not expecting to go. And it's actually a weird place to end the whole album.
Yes.
Because you're like, what just happened? Like, we really got fucking crazy. Did they drop acid and then like at the beginning of the sketch and then it just hit by the time we got to the end of it?
Right.
It's great because I'm not an expert on this time period with regards to comedy, but
sure,
you just don't see that a lot. But you're heading in that direction in the 60s as you get into more, hippie culture and enjoyment of drugs and narcotics, and that working its way into pop culture. You get movies like Casino Royale, the original Casino Royale, which just goes nuts in the end and just turns into a drug trip essentially. Also, I think the director walked out halfway through. I don't know. That one's a real crazy one. The original Bond, or one of the first Bond films.
Yeah.
There's like 3 James Bonds in it or something.
Yeah, there are. And it's David Niven.
Yeah, David Niven.
Is Sellers actually one
Peter
of the...
Sellers,
he's in it,
yeah.
but is he one of the Bonds
I think he's one of the Bonds.
Okay. And then I know Woody Allen's in it somewhere.
Yeah, Woody Allen plays James Bond as well. Good God.
The first Bond, though, was an American TV movie? Of Casino Royale.
I'm like a Bond aficionado.
They called him Jimmy Bond. No shit.
Jimmy Bond.
No shit. Just some American
some
dipshit. Yeah, and I don't know why that ever happened, but that was them trying to first. It's weird. It's very strange.
That's crazy. I'm gonna look that up.
I also think a lot of this album, a lot of my favorite stuff from this period, has this tinge of, oh, hey, people are starting to go to therapy now. People are starting to go to analysis now. They're like, okay, let's play with the Oedipal side of, like, people are becoming aware of maybe, oh God,
psychology.
maybe I have an Oedipal complex. Maybe I have this. And it's like that now is starting to enter comedy. And it's a new thing.
Yeah.
And the whole
idea. You get
idea
a sense of that New York neuroticism.
Oh, for sure you do.
That's like, this is what's going to give birth to people like Woody Allen, like these classic New York, and I don't mean to praise Woody Allen. He's a very controversial figure.
Sure.
And I'm not getting into that. But I just mean that idea of the neurotic New Yorker, which then spreads to Hollywood and then kind of expands from there into film and TV. But yeah, it's like you feel like you're listening to a New York album, like a Broadway or like just live comedy show in New York in 1960, which is really cool.
Yeah, because I don't think at this point, I don't know when Woody Allen... We won't stay on that topic for too long, but I don't know when he started doing stand-up. I know the big years were 64 to 68. He was writing well before this, but there's a very good chance that this is exactly the kind of zeitgeist that was turning him into, I can turn the worst parts of myself into a funny stage persona. So you're probably right. I love so much that one of my, like every bit, first of all, the album starts out with one of my, it doesn't start out, but it opens, the first joke in the first one, that's K as in knife.
Oh
that
my
whole
God.
fucking bit.
So good.
That just kills the audience,
Kaplan.
and you're like, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Kaplan, spelling out Kaplan, and her voice is so fucking funny. Oh God, just like certain words that she hits.
Nyan.
Yeah.
And apparently, though, that was like legit how they did it too, just to differentiate. But like, she's way overplaying it, which I love so much.
Oh my God, so much. And like, I see people doing that to this day, playing with dialect and language and just over enunciating words because it's a fun character choice. Of
course.
And it works. It really, really works. You're dime, like saying dime instead of dime. And like, it's just, it's so good. And the bumbling operators is a trope. It's a character that shows up in comedy. Like Lily Tomlin really takes it to the next level. But I wonder if this is kind of the seed that kind of that character grows from. But it's it's a real gas, man. She is a firecracker.
Oh my God, I know.
She's so funny.
Like he and he gets his bits too.
Yeah.
Like, and
No,
most
he
of
totally
his
does.
are
But he
of
doesn't
them
try
are
to steal the show from her.
no, not at all.
Like
'cause
they
it
work
would
really
make
well
no
together.
sense. It would make no sense because like what he's got going for him is he sounds like a schmuck. He looks like a schmuck. Like he's a handsome guy, but he looks like a guy who you're going to take advantage of. And there's just so much of, but ma'am, I don't have the time.
Yeah,
like
he's good
so
at
much
cracking
squeak,
his voice
so
at the right
great.
place. Yeah.
Sounds so desperate. You relate to him 100%, but then
Yeah.
at the same time, you're like, what the fuck is she going to do next?
Yeah.
As 3 different characters. Although maybe 3 different characters. It's hard to say. Maybe
I think
they're all
it's the
fucking
same
with
person.
him. Yeah.
I think it's the same person
Could be.
fucking with him. And because the second character is it's really brilliantly set up. The first character is just like a zany operator, like the world's worst operator. And she does not like this guy for some reason. And just decides to fuck with him. Comes on as the operating supervisor. Who still sounds like her, but is kind of just a little bit more serious sounding. Like she's playing 2 characters now. And then the third character is the manager and is just pure pleasure. Like she's just leaning into this guy and he has no clue. I mean, it's so good. I think it's all one person.
You're
Character
probably
fucking
right.
with the guy. It's so much more enjoyable to think of it that way.
Yeah. Ma'am, you took my dime. Oh my God. Like she just does this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so good. And he still doesn't he gets absolutely no satisfaction in the end.
No, zero. That's
Oh,
great.
God damn it. Do you have a favorite of the 4? Like, is there one particular? I mean, they're all very good.
They're
but-
all very good. Adultery is very funny as you kind of look into the psyches, their version of the psyches of, America, Britain, and France. I gotta say, I think Telephone is my favorite. Not that it got worse as you went through.
Sure.
But that one was just, it was so quick paced. It was so back and forth. They were so on the ball with each other that it's a great one to start the album off with, or it would be a great one to end it off with.
That's also true. Yeah, it's so fucking solid. You could do either.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
Let me look. I'm gonna look at this is so dumb. Like I can, if you mention one, I know. Boy, oh boy. The reason I really love Disc Jockey, and
Yeah, that one's great too.
I think Telephone is. I think I'm on board with that probably being my favorite of them. But Disc Jockey's a close second, and I think it's because. Well, it could just be ego speaking. That just reminds me of something I would write, and that's 100% where it's like, that's my style.
Yeah.
It's 100% my style. It's just him saying, my friend Bertrand Russell. Like, he's just every fucking, Bert. It's so dumb.
Bertie.
And it's a bit that I feel like is still done all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
That one for sure. Disc Jockey, where he's basically making fun of, I think they're making fun of the West Coast. I think they're making fun of the entertainment industry.
For sure.
They're making fun of talk shows. They're making fun of radio.
Yep.
They're making fun of the fakery that you find with certain types of, PR that you have to do in this town. It's still very relevant to this day. Yeah. I mean, you watch any late night talk show and you just watch you can see which stars are better at it than others. And I have very little experience with late night talk shows, so I probably would be just as guilty at it than others. But
Sure.
But you can really see the host teeing up like, okay, this is the story that we came up with. You're going to tell a story about how you broke a light bulb and then stepped on it and this is going to have to go to the hospital or whatever. And so you just see it's all very obvious how they've kind of set up the interview to go as opposed to it just being a natural back and forth interview like we're having, which is probably good because we're just rambling and going on tangents and that's why they do it. But, it's funny to see how so much of the fakery that goes behind all that is a throwback to how it started, and they're right on the money with it. That sketch plays today perfectly clear. It could you could be set like everything they talk about. It could be set today with like just new stars' names in there.
For sure. They actually, and the one thing that I've always appreciated about that is they explain who a couple of the names are. Because, like, I know that name, but I can't remember who the fuck they are historically.
Yeah, totally.
And they say, hey, financier. And I'm like, okay, good. Got the joke.
Yep,
Good.
thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bring the audience along with you. Don't talk down to them. Just...
Right.
It's brilliant writing. It's great.
I love that she's starring in Two Girls in Paris, which is the Gertrude Stein
Yeah.
story. And Sal Mineo plays my boyfriend,
Oh, my God.
Ernest Hemingway. I was saying to Papa the other day, that's what close friends call him, Papa. I was saying to Papa the other day, I used to know this thing by heart. I so badly wanted to restage these 4 sketches just because they're so good.
Yeah.
I don't, and I can't picture how they're played.
But it never works
either.
when you restage stuff.
Oh, no,
it just never works. It's like, watching someone do the Who's on First routine, and you're like, yes, it's funny, but they did it better. So it's that's tough.
Oh, it'd be me doing a shitty impression of Mike Nichols. That's what it would be, 100%. And I'd probably wouldn't be able to find anybody else to do it, so I'd also be doing Elaine May, and nobody's going to come watch a one-man Mike Nichols on Elaine May show.
I might watch
All right,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll keep that in mind for the future. I'll
pay,
send you a
but can you
postcard.
comp me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Do you... Okay, this is something I don't get to talk with enough people about. Because this is something I've been I used to heavily ask the question, ask a bunch of influence-related questions. And you sort of realize that question ends up being a dead end because you can't peg where an influence comes from. It's absorbed.
Right.
It's more like it's just a thing that happened and it's part of me. I don't know. And if I dig into it too deep, I'm probably going to misremember. But I do wonder, finally listening to this album, is there anything that you're immediately like, oh, this is something I could re-listen to and learn from in terms of acting? I know that I feel like listening to this has given me a little more speed as an improviser.
Right.
Even though it's listening to the same thing over and over again, you kind of establish patterns.
I think an album like this is excellent at... There's no empty space between the two of them. And it's not that you need to fill space at all times. You can earn silences. You can earn breaks. And they do. They do in, when she switches to the next operator or the next supervisor or manager. So... I imagine on stage, you can actually probably get a clear picture of the character of the operator, pulling the plug or putting her hand over whatever the microphone is or whatever, and just laughing to herself, composing herself, and coming on as a new person. So I'm sure it's much more clear in person what's going on if it's one person playing 3 characters or a different character each time. Because I really just want to see the physicality of these characters as well. But that said... When you've got your earned pauses, but other than that, it is flying. This thing moves, and it's not too fast, and it's not too slow. It's just right. And they don't talk over each other a lot.
Right.
They do not spend a lot of time doing that. They're very respectful of each other's toes, and I think with a lot of comedy, especially improv today, you see a lot of people talking over each other because each person is like, no, what I got to say, I got to get out of here. And there's this weird desperation that comes out when you're watching improv. Whereas these two, and they've also crafted it and perfected it over many performances. So it's different. But you can see that they're not desperate. They're not rushed. They're comfortable and they're just on each other and they're picking up the cues and it's moving at a good clip. It doesn't lag. It never lags.
Right.
And you often think of old things, old movies, old novels, old shit as being slow and boring sometimes. And this is anything but that. So it's nice to see comedy that's just done at at the perfect pace.
Yeah.
And I just love how they fill everything in with such ease. They're so relaxed. You can tell how relaxed they are. They're not nervous in one bit. They're just flowing. It's like a Zen comedy situation going on. I'm very much, as a performer, I'm very much a nervous energy, kind of all bottled up kind of thing. And my thing to work on the most is just always calming down.
Yeah.
Always just breathe, go, and relax. And when I'm filming, I tend to be a little bit slower getting my stuff out, my lines out, than I would be on stage live because of a couple reasons. I just want to make sure I hit all the moments that I'm trying to hit. And also I know they can, in most cases, they're going to tighten things with editing. And I don't worry about pace as much when I'm filming. When I'm on stage, I'm worried about pace. When I'm on stage, if I'm doing a play or improv, you are your own editor and you are keeping the pace. You know, everything is on screen. All the footage is on stage. I mean, and so you have to edit it all together.
Yeah.
It's the director's job to try and focus the energy on stage so that the audience can see exactly what he or she wants the audience to see. And it's the actor's job to maintain that throughout a whole run of a play. And it's a very difficult task. It's the idea of not dropping the ball or, the audience being the other character in a play. And you don't get that on set. On set, the sound guy never wants you to say your line on top of the other person's line so that it can be clean for the editor to cut picture. And I hate that shit so much. That's why I love working in like 2 shots where there's 2 of you on screen or even 2 cameras so that you're getting the same thing, but you're getting the same audio track from 2 different angles. Then you can like talk on each other's lines and be on each other's cues. And the sound guy won't matter. It won't matter to them because the editor can switch between those shots, no problem. Or in a 2 shot where it's just the 2 of you, you can be on each other and you can sort of have a little bit more of a fiery pace. That's when you can have fun with pacing and being on each other's cues. But they don't do this here. They're just like, they're very good at click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, and finding their way of getting in there.
Yeah.
With the odd comment or even a sure, yeah, like just filling the space and keeping the ball is in the air the whole time. It's great, and that's something that I definitely would love to bring into my work.
It's amazing that energy is there after you've improvised it, after you've potentially beaten the hell out of it because you're rewriting
sick of hell.
After you've beaten it up, rehearsing it.
Yeah.
After you've beaten it up, performing it a million times. And then somebody says, we're going to do a record. Finally, fuck, are we done with this thing? Like, I'm not saying that's how they felt, but I can get the idea that many going through the same thing that felt so fresh that first time.
Yeah.
I don't
Elaine,
know you're welcome on the show. If you want to come on, let's talk about it. But
Elaine, come on out, please.
For real.
Do it. I always marvel at stand-ups how when you're watching them, it sounds like, or it feels like, they're trying material on you for the first time. Now, in LA, you get pretty lucky where you can go out to a live show, and very often, especially if it's like a late night set at the Comedy Store or, a surprise visit by someone, they're going to be testing out new material, and that's very exciting.
Sure.
But like generally, a stand-up comedian is traveling with their material for months on the road from, room to room, testing how it is, how it feels in the Midwest, how it feels in the South, how it feels in Texas, how it feels in Washington State. It's very different audiences, very different laughs for different jokes and things like that before they even get to recording a live, taping, whether it's for an album or a Comedy Central special or something like that. They must be so sick of their material by then. But they do such a good job of just making it seem like you're hearing it for the first time. It always makes me, I feel so cheap when I'm listening to a comedy album and I hear a bit that they've done before somewhere else that I've heard it. I'm like, oh, you fucking cheater. You're cheating on me. What the fuck is this? I feel dirty and cheap. And it always pisses me off. But that's the reality of it. And especially with theater. You don't get this with TV and film, but you get it with theater and you get it with stand-up comedy. You don't get it with improv. But the idea of making something as fresh as possible every single time you do it. And that's the joy of those mediums is that it's never going to be the same. It's always going to be a different show. Every single night you're doing a play. If you try and muscle it into the same show it was the night before or the time when it was the best, you're fucked. It's going to be so screwed. And you're going to be in your head. You're going to be you're going to shit the bed the whole way through. It's impossible to achieve, the same show twice. And the more you relax and just go with the flow and work from where you are. They used to teach us this all the time at theater school. They're like, approach the material from where you are that day. Yeah. So what you ate, how little sleep you got, how rushed you were to get to the theater, whatever it is. Like, you have to take all that into account. Your body is different today than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And you need to be fine with it, and you need to be ready for whatever, you could have fucking diarrhea and have to do a 2-hour show. You got to make sure that you maintain and keep it in and just go.
This sounds like a very personal story that has happened before.
Not. No, it's not. There was a famous story drifting around the Toronto theater scene for years of someone shitting their pants on stage at the Shaw Festival, which is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. It's outside of Toronto. And there is a famous tale. I wish I knew it. I don't know. I don't remember who it was, and I wouldn't say because that would just be yeah, right. Yeah, he would be mortified. He'd be sitting in a vat of hand sanitizer for days after that. Yeah, someone shat themselves on stage in like a period play.
Oh no!
Like just horribly.
That's terrible.
But I've had crazy things happen to me on stage. I've broken my foot on stage in the middle of a show. I stress fractured my arm in the middle of a show. That was in the middle of Evil Dead the Musical, where we were in like this big, huge battle scene at the end, and I was playing a Kandarian demon, as one does. And I slipped in some blood on the stage, some stage blood, and because it's a very bloody, gory. If you don't know Evil Dead, go and watch it. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. It's all pretty crazy. But anyways, I slipped in some blood on stage that was not supposed to be there, and I went flying into the audience. But I stopped myself before I landed on people. I was sliding on my knees down the stage, and I stopped myself with my arm on the edge of a railing, a table railing. So it was just like a hard edge, all my body weight sliding in the middle of this massive fight scene. And immediately my whole arm was just like, oh, God. And I had another show to do that night.
Shit.
It was like a 2-hour show, hour and a half, 2-hour show that we did twice a night on Fridays and Saturdays. That really sucked. So between the show, I had to like try not to throw up because my body was in shock from fracturing my arm. Wrap it up, ice it, get some food in me, but I was nauseous, but I needed energy. Advil like crazy. And then I had to go through all my stunts, like flips and rolls and all these like fight things with my arm bandaged up so that I could figure out how to not land on it and like do all this shit. And that was the second show of like a 7-month run.
Oh my God.
It was nuts. It was the day after opening.
Holy shit.
And the first show before a 2-show night. It was nuts. And you just got to maintain. You got to, the audience can't know that something's wrong.
Is it all, well, it's not. You just established it's not, but because is it headspace? Are there skills that you've learned to keep it fresh? I mean, are there particular like, and I don't necessarily mean rituals, but I mean like, because I know that's also can be part of it for some people. But
when you're doing a really long, it's different. If you're doing like a 2 or 3 week run of a play, you're still discovering shit as you go along. The last show, you're still like, oh fuck, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Like, you'll hit moments that you've never hit before because you're still sussing things out. You probably only rehearse the play for 3 weeks and then you're performing it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You're not going to discover every, inch of this. The theater tradition in North America can be very fast paced. In Europe, they'll work on something for months and sometimes years before they really dive into it and have an understanding on it. They just take time with things in some of these, especially in Eastern European theater traditions. But in America and in Canada, you're just cranking stuff out and you don't have a budget to rehearse for months and things like that. And you don't have the audience to do that. And so you just got to kind of do the best you can. And it's really cool when you do a play and then come back to it a year later and it gets remounted because all of a sudden the play is like in a whole other zone a year later because it's just sat in the back of your fucking weird brain percolating, doing its own thing. And you come back a year later, dust it off, rememorize the lines, they're still pretty much there, and then discover like, oh my God, this is totally different, or this happened in my life since then. It's coming out completely different now, or just deeper and richer, and this is so weird. It's a great, really cool experience that I hope every actor who does theater gets a chance to experience. And I'm sure, I'm sure Nichols and May would dust some of these off from time to time.
Right.
They might do Operator at a fundraiser, or I think
Sure.
they performed at Jimmy Carter's inauguration.
Oh my God.
And, I'm sure they did a quick, 10, 15 minute set of, two of their greatest sketches or whatever.
Yeah.
And they could just dust it off. These are bits, and comedians are so good at that. I'm not good at that. I memorize something, I perform it, and then I'm moving on to the next one. That chunk of my brain that memorized those lines, I'm like, forget it. I don't remember that shit. You could ask me a couple weeks later, I'd be like, what do I say again? What's the line? I don't remember. I'm on to new shit that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I have great short-term memory, but my long-term memory is garbage.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't have any, which is why I have a script on stage. I'm also usually drinking on stage.
Yeah, that helps too.
That does help.
Actually, don't do that with live theater people, please. We're not condoning that.
I do drink on stage, though. I'm just saying. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's true. Comedy's different.
It is different. It's not theater what I do. I mean, it's not. It is, but it's not.
It is, but it's not. I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's looser though, and that's more comfortable for
a lot of
an
sitting
audience.
too.
Yeah.
A lot more sitting. So we've established. Nobody heard me say that. We've established that your favorite one is Telephone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thoroughly agree. It's a brilliant album, and again, like I said, it stands re-listening since I've been listening to it for probably 20 years, off and on. I mean, this
is something that I am going to go back to and listen to.
You should.
Again,
You
for
should.
Sure.
It's perfect on many levels, even with the weird ending with the mom and son sketch.
Yeah. No,
but I
love
also
that ending.
love that ending.
I
It's just
love that
weird as
ending.
shit.
You're not expecting it out of 1960
No.
comedy.
No. Why recommend this to somebody who hasn't heard it before?
It's always good to listen to classics.
Mm-hmm.
You get a better understanding of where we are now from that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of classics can be very boring. This is not. This is a classic for a reason, and it's on these best of lists for a reason. Even though, these lists that are being written today or even 10 years ago, it's not like Mike Nichols and Elaine May are in the zeitgeist in any way.
Right.
They're not. They, for all intents and purposes, you would expect them to be buried in the vast volume of comedy that we have out there, but it stands out today and is still relevant and still good today for a reason. It is a classic for a reason. So it's 100% relevant and worthy. Give it a spin.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. One more time, tell people about Carter, where they can find it and when.
All right. Carter is on WGN America Tuesdays at 10 p.m. I believe they'll have it available on their website as well, so you can Google that and maybe give it a watch there. Maybe you could even watch it there. Maybe. It stars Jerry O'Connell and Sidney Poitier Hartsong, who is Sidney Poitier's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fantastic as well, and myself and a whole bunch of great actors and guest stars as well. And even Jerry's wife makes a little appearance on it. Rebecca Romaine comes and joins us, which is really cool. It's just a really fun show. So check it out if you want some laughs and want to watch something that's, Murder, She Wrote meets Magnum P.I. Small town with way too many murders and
Love it.
A little bit of, comedy and action involved. Then check out Carter.
That's perfect. And people can find you on where?
The Twitter and the Instagram at Mr. Kristian Bruun. And that's kind of the easiest way to see what I'm up to. I'm posting regularly and responding usually, so drop me a line.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing the show.
Thank you for having me again.
I'm going to tell people very quickly, I'm at JKLAM, JKLAMM. Maybe on Instagram soon I'm going to start doing that thing where I talk about all the extra work I used to do, because I might be doing one more fun extra gig later this year just because it's for a fun show. That might happen again. CelerySoundRecords.com. That's my little sketch comedy record label. Go there. And then my Jerry O'Connell story very quickly. When I was on Crossing Jordan, this extra came up.
Crossing Jordan.
Yeah, I was a goth. I dyed my hair
No,
for this
you
shit.
were not.
Yup. That and Alias shot back to back, same episode of the show. They're the exact, almost titled the exact same thing.
Oh, wow.
And so 30 or 40 of us had all like we had our goth shit ready, and we just did both shows in a row. I dyed my hair for it like an ass. Permanent dye.
Of course.
Yeah, because I was so smart.
You were one of the go-to goth extras in town.
Apparently.
Yeah.
They're like, you have black hair? I'm like, mm-hmm. But one guy said, yeah, I was working on Crossing Jordan a couple months ago, and I was running late, and the PAs were, if a PA caught me, they were going to fire me. Jerry O'Connell saw me and said, here, hop in my car. So he let an extra hop into his car. They drove up onto set, he gave him a coffee. He's like, oh, sorry, it's my fault. He was late. So he saved this guy's ass because
that's Jerry.
Sweetest man on the planet.
Jerry,
apparently.
I've seen Jerry do stuff like that many, many times.
Kristian's a very nice guy, too. I just feel like I should point out, I know I've talked a lot about how nice Jerry O'Connell is. You're a very nice fella. I really like Orphan Black.
Thank you.
This new show sounds great.
It's a lot of fun.
I genuinely want to watch it. I cannot wait to see it. Awesome. That's about it. Thank you guys for listening. And I'm losing my voice. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Worden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs, and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years.